match number 1. Brisulph coming in with a nice win. Both our runners here actually coming in with a nice win of 3-0 in their previous bracket. This is on the upper side of the bracket here. So given the double elimination style of the tournament, this will not be the last you see of either of these runners. Either one has the ability to make a nice run in the bonus round if they drop this match here. But we are underway in arena number 1. And let's see how it goes. Both getting the Razor Shield, setting up nicely on the right side of the door, and continuing from there.
All right. Thank you again for holding things down, Tapatio. I'd gotten a call from our veterinarian as there's a little something wrong with our dog here. So we're trying to figure everything out. So, yeah, I mean, pets are family, so it's definitely a little bit of a concern. But no, thank you for holding things down. I know it took me probably a good 15 minutes to speak with the doctor, and then right after that, as I came back, I got a call from my sister who purchased our dog back in 2013. So lots of things going on behind the scenes here. But Brisulph, as you can see, now looking for the orb, and he gets it here as Brisulph, the world record holder at 5 minutes and 12 seconds.
He's all right.
Meanwhile, yeah, he's okay. Grunt, meanwhile, is 24th on the leaderboard with a 6:16, so not too far away from a sub-6, but anything can happen. The RNG can certainly be problematic.
Well, here we go. I mean, RNG starting out not too bad for either of our runners, both getting out in about that 120 range here. Grunty able to hold a pretty close right there. Unfortunately, losing that orb, you hate to see it. Hopefully he's able to get a replacement here, and there we go. All right, hey, spoken into existence again in good old eat my shrapnel. The main thing, as brought up by Ferron before, you want to really make sure you keep control of the number of the shrapnel you have on the board. Only can see 4 at a time. You need to take care of them. It's kind of the tricky thing, because you need to take care of them, but you can't let the swarmers get away from you either. So definitely nicely done. Grunty getting a little bit back there, but Bry managing really well with the rockets there.
And Grunt taking a death here. That is going to certainly set him back. I mean, Bry already having about an 8-second lead heading into total carnage here. And rockets and, oh my gosh, spreaders as well. RNG favoring the favorite and then some.
I mean, Bry would never admit to this, but he's the luckiest dang guy in this game I've ever seen. I'm just going to say that right now.
257
getting the drops
to the bonus room. Holy smokes.
There you go. That's sub 3. Seems to be a really, you hit a sub 3 going into the bonus room. You usually feeling pretty good about your run.
Yeah, wait, I thought the TAS exhibition was last night from Jackamus. Or 2 nights ago, I should say.
I mean, I would say there's a handful of folks that if they get a little bit of the RNG going their way, they look just like a TAS. That's for sure.
Certainly feels pretty close. Utilizing that invulnerability, now has the nuke to be able to clear the room, finish out the last of the wall gunners.
Yeah, taking care of those gunners. I've seen some folks really survive with them. I think it's almost always one of the first things I go for when I get into this room, just because they are just such a nuisance. They'll change their direction right at the last second. Of course, the tanks right there showing why they're annoying. It just firing off 5 shots in like a spread formation, making it not so easy to deal with either. But Bry into Mutoid at about a 414 there. Very nice.
Now, I don't want to make it sound lopsided, but I think either the RNG has to be redonkulously good for Grunt here, or Bry has to forget that he's racing and reset. I think those are the ways that that Grunt will be able to keep it. And this is not a knock on Grunt. This is just Bry has been grinding at this game for so long.
I mean, maybe Bry, bumps the SNES, something like that. If you're Grunty, you take those. You take that dub right there. I would.
Yeah, maybe a capture card issue or or some sort of other court issue. That's the only reason that I didn't get swept in my initial race against Jackamus.
I think Jackie was just covering up. I think Jackie would have lost that match anyways. Just saw how I was going, crumbling against you for that's my take.
2 seconds in, I appreciate the flattery, but it will get you nowhere in this case, Tapatio.
Sometimes the RNG reveals itself very early, you never know.
I don't know if it's that early necessarily. All right, Brisulph, meanwhile, is working on the chest open here, trying to pop the head. There's a spreader for Grunt and waits to take it and is going to try to manual here. Bry, meanwhile, with the lobbers and is working on popping the head. Grunt, meanwhile, has some grenades, is able to pop the chest open here. So the head popped on Bry's side, so probably about a 4.5 behind.
I cannot believe Grunty got that one. Are you kidding me? That was all the way across. I thought there was no chance after taking the intentional death of getting to that, but gets to it. Is able to use it a bit. Is within a form.
Final form for Brisulph here.
There it is.
Bry is going to take it, but it is rather close, and apparently Tapatio and I are being apparently we're being unkind, and we don't intend to be by any means. A 646 here for Bry. The RNG not being favorable here for Grunt. Dodges the shrapnel and is on that final form and is looking to finish off and will do so here. So it looks like it's going to be about a 7-12, 7-13, something along those lines.
Yeah, that low 7. Yeah, very nice opening
here, absolutely, and apparently I've got to apparently pump the brakes here, as I don't intend to be harsh by any means, but it's the same thing as when I took on Jackamus. It was one of those. All right, you knew Burgundy was going to absolutely get decimated. It was just a matter of by how much.
We're an honest booth here for on we call them as we see them.
Exactly, calling it as I see it. That's what I do as a broadcast journalist.
All right, we'll be
here and IRL.
So these two will be getting set up for our next match here. It's looking good on Bry's side. I think Grunty still needs to be doing a little bit. I'll check in with them. Oh, never mind. They checked in with me. We're good to go. So we'll get these guys counted down in a little bit here. Heading in to game number 2 of match number 2 here. Let's see how it goes for these guys.
So Tapatio J doing yeoman's work here, not only taking care of the officialities, but also covering for me in the booth while I had to deal with some IRL issues. And that is greatly appreciated. So the countdown underway, and game number 2 in this best of 5 match is underway.
As always, kind of looking at the initial strats here on Arena 1. It's basic, obviously. We're, players, runners, are going to be manipulating to getting that Razor Shield first drop. Can do a few different things about how you move around this room. You're not really getting any other decent drops. Beyond maybe some shoes. Might be the best thing you'll get, or a late Smart Bomb to be able to clear the room. But using that Razor Shield as a weapon tends to be a good call there. Both our runners getting out at about a 41 or so.
So pretty even heading out of the first room. But the drops a foot for Brisulph, grenades for Grunt. So neither with the advantage there. Let's see what the second drop brings. Grenades and a foot again. We're in a rut. Grenades and a foot a third time. And feet for both. Apparently the game wants both of them to move like Usain Bolt. Here's some rockets for Brisulph, but an orb for Grunt. He takes a death at the door.
That's always going to be, again, we brought this up before in the previous match. Those spawns that are right next to the doors, you got to get in and out, and that's why you do, because all of a sudden you get something spawning through that door, and your orb's gone, you're gone, something.
So now here in to eat my shrapnel, and Bry with an orb and a comfortable lead here. Grunt is fishing for an orb, and the line is coming up empty thus far.
Yeah, probably going to be going out of their way to perhaps get some keys. Grenades even here. Usually not an item you want to see, but it'll perhaps help you deal with the shrapnel a little faster. You really want to keep this to not having 4 on the board, and that's what you start to see on that side. Bry able to hold it down with the orb, keeping that center, keeping it healthy, and seeing if they could perhaps get some rockets or something here to exit the room.
Yeah, about an 18-second differential heading into total carnage, as Bry now working on the middle of the room, avoiding the nuke. At his level of play, the nuke not really... Well, okay, decides to go for it, making me sound like even more of a fool. Doesn't take much. And now spreaders as well, and a Razor Shield, RNG favoring the favorites and then some.
Yeah, that Razor Shield really coming through. Gets it down to the last 2, so they're able to use it and getting into that room at an incredibly low 3-minute time there. Pretty nice there from Bry. Grunty's able to get a spreader here, start helping out a little bit, get the center in control. Hopefully able to get that elusive, get that another orb here, so able to get a little bit more cleared out. Another spreader, though.
Well, back-to-back spreaders as Bry heading into tank trouble at 326. Grunt, meanwhile, is working still on total carnage.
Great play there for Bry. Was able to get the invulnerability, was able to then move down through the screen to get to those rockets that were right there at the bottom, but just plowed through, made their way to be able to get to them. That's a nice little play there. Able to keep that orb healthy, too.
Oh, goodness. About a 51-second differential heading into the bonus room.
And Bry leaving in a sub 410 into Mutoid Man, while Grunty is going to be entering tank at about a 416. Grunty able to get that smart bomb, being able to get it a little bit clear, using the rockets a little sparingly, trying to get down the lanes, trying to get, hopefully here, yeah, looking for another item, gets the rockets. Bry with lobbers right now, looking for some potentially better drops, not even trying to bother with those rockets. Get those lobbers in, that's good damage.
Yeah, that little, I guess that's a trapezoid under the chin of Mutoid Man. If you're able to hit that with the lobber, that is able to potentially do, I think, triple damage.
And really, actually, a really nice tank trouble. Grunty is able to get out of there in about a minute. So not too shabby over there. Gonna definitely be, the few forms behind. The drop started drying up for Brisulph. Maybe a little bit of a comeback here with a nice spreader or two for Grunty, but lobbers on Bry's side looking good, and vulnerability on Grunty's side, not so much. Ooh, key.
And a
the empties.
Yeah, Grunt's going to need spreaders, but I don't think, similar to what we saw in the last matchup, I don't know if Grunt takes intentional... Well, okay, there was a death there thanks to the corner, so he's going to be able to get some of that damage, but final form here for Brisulph, and is going to finish at about a 6:15, I want to say.
Yeah, right about there. Maybe a hair under, but... Pretty much.
6:14.88. All right, so it's just a little over. I'd lose in Price is Right.
Yeah, Grunt able to get a nice little spreader. Got the intentional death. Going to take another one here in the second last form. This could be some real nice transfer damage. Does get a good heap of it. This shouldn't be too much more. Yep, gets it with that same spread.
Out that quickly.
That's the beauty of that second to last form spreader right there, especially when that health is a little bit dropped. You're pretty close to the last form. You just drill that spreader right into the into that second last form, and you're able to pretty much melt that last form along with it. But a sub-7 there from Grunt, a little bit better. Bry just kind of getting not the super favored RNG. I don't know how many good spreaders actually gotten within the last two races there, but doing well with the lobbers. Grunt doing good, pretty good with some of the maneuvering as well, and got a good couple spreaders there. So should be an interesting look into the third match. RNG is going to play a big role again, I imagine. We'll see how these orb drops work out.
Well, we see Brisulph noting in chat here that was a Workman 614, as apparently it was a little troublesome, but was not too thrilled with the Mutoid RNG. And that gave Grunt, as noted by LOZ Cards fan, a sliver of hope. But yeah, RNG favoring the favorite and Brisulph as the number 1 seed overall. Certainly showing as the favorite.
It looks like both of our runners are good to go. RNG or the manipulation being set, and I'll get them set up. We'll be underway. Game number 3. Match number 2 here. And here we go. Match should be starting soon here. This will be, unfortunately, the I believe our last match of the evening. We have a nice little double header here. Was potentially going to be a 3-game evening, but I believe we got some rescheduling going on for that. But we do have, I believe, maybe a double header going on tomorrow, and that should be a good one as well. We might talk about a little bit of that later. But here we go. Start of match, or game number 3 of match number 2.
Yeah, it looks like the race that was initially scheduled for today, that is going to turn tomorrow's single race into a double header, at least for the moment here. But we do see Brisulph finishing off the room and is going to be out of there around a 41.
Not too far behind will be Grunty right there, getting about a mid 43 or so, getting into power-ups. Grenades on the feet there for Bry. Never want to see those. Gets rockets to get those out of there. Grenades, you know, when you have the orb, you hate that as well, but at least you get rid of the ammo pretty fast. When you don't have it, grenades are they're just bothering. They just get in the way. Give me back to the pea shooter. I'd rather just have that. And a pretty nice entry, pretty nice clear there from Bry. Able to get, unfortunately, gets grenades, able to use them at first, and then gets a little whacked right there. Able to get a razor shield, so going to be able to maintain a bit here still with just the solo pea shooter. Same thing with Grunty, trying to work through it, trying to get weapons. Might even be grabbing things like grenades right here just to get those drops going. Rockets for Bry.
Bry's, yeah, they're definitely orb hunting here.
You like to see it in as soon as you can here, as obviously you want it in power-ups. You hope for it early in shrapnel, just so you don't have these shrapnels on the board as Grunty had right there. Orb for Bry. See if they can hold it, keep the middle here. It looks like that is the case for him.
Well, there is an orb for Grunt and is able to get it and hangs on to it for the moment.
Made sure that it was cleared, kept that upper right quadrant nice and safe so that did grab the orb, wasn't going to lose it right away. That's takes a little time, made sure, but it's better to have that orb than not.
So about a 258 into the bonus room.
Another sub 3 going into the bonus for Bry. Pretty nice. You gotta like to see that from him. Grunty doing pretty well, actually maintaining the center pretty nicely. Gets a razor shield to help with it. Somehow doesn't lose the orb right there. That was incredibly close to that green. And this razor shield should be able to clean the rest of it up.
So Bry now into tank trouble, as Grunt now probably about 35 seconds behind.
Potentially there. A little bit of a rough start there for the room for Bry. Then spreader into double rocket drops. You know he's loving that. And doing a good job with them, getting both directions, able to keep that orb healthy. A little close calls there, but
oh no.
Clean.
Commentator's curse again.
Unfortunate.
And Bry about a 406, 407 into Mutoid Man. Oh, and Bry gets zapped, perhaps looking for a drop, and it's a lobber, which will get the job done, at least for the moment. There's some rockets now. Grunt, meanwhile, is trying to get through tank trouble. Clears the room with the nuke and is trying to get both of those wall gunners, is able to do so. But his work is cut out for him.
Yeah, those gunners sticking around a little bit. Had an ability to get it with some grenades early on there, and the invulnerability ran out sooner than I thought, right there. So unfortunately, at early death, and they kind of just missed the drop from there, but is able to get through with an orb going in at about a 514 into Mutoid.
Chest popped open here for Brisulph. And Grunt not able to get that lobber. Takes a death and just a little too late. Gets another lobber though. But it's about 4 forms behind Brisulph. Final form now for Brisulph. Lobbers are flowing here, and Bry trying to finish off a spreader at the feet.
Spreader's going to get it either right there. Yeah, about 1 bar left in the clip there. He's able to get done with the spreaders. Got some nice lobbers in there, of course. Grunty cycling through these items, getting some lobbers, getting some grenades, getting some rockets. Got both those arms popped off.
And Bry going to finish at a Booyaka 619 to take the sweep and advance into round 3 of the winner's bracket. And now awaits the winner of Telio 1 and Stormcrow 56K, the 8-9 matchup.
Yeah, of course, a great one right there. 8-9 seed right there. Getting into that third round of the winner's bracket, it starts to, at that point, I mean, let's see. Trying to make sure the placings here. Getting into the winner's third round, does that guarantee at least some money there based on the placements? I'm not too sure, but gets you definitely up there with the lucrative prize pool that we have going in there. You know, you get the winners round 3. You're pretty much guaranteed coming home with a little bit of something for playing some Smash TV. The big money, the big prizes.